Hey, hello there friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Cloud with Mohsin. First of all, wishing you a very happy Eidul Azha Mubarak. I wish you have a wonderful celebration on this auspicious day. Friends, today I am going to cover a very important topic, and the topic name is AWS cost optimization. Okay, so we are going to discuss about some proven strategies to minimize cost expenses. Okay, this is very important topic, and please, I would request you all to please watch this session till the end. Before going to start, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I am Mohsin Sheikh. I am AWS and Azure Cloud certified professional, and I'm working in the IT industry for last 15-16 plus years. Okay, so that was quickly about me, and let's see what are the topic that we are going to cover up today. First of all, see, we will start with the introduction, and in the introduction we will discuss why there is a requirement to optimize AWS or cloud costs. Okay, unless you get to know why we are going to do these things, you won't understand the further things. There are some aspects that we need to cover after the introduction, which are the AWS pricing models, and we will touch base upon some real world AWS cost optimization stories. So basically, this will cover some of these organizations, big organizations, or companies who implemented cost optimization and what are the results that they achieved. To achieve this, there are definitely some cost of management tools that we need. So we will see into this section under AWS cost management tools, and after this we will check right sizing the resources. So right sizing means it should be uh, what is the exactly the requirement, or whether the resources that we are going to use are best suited for that particular requirement. It should not be under occupied, or it should not be overutilized. So that is something which we call it as a right sizing. Storage optimization is also needed, which will be covering after right sizing the resources. And after this we will quickly discuss about reduce how to reduce networking costs with smart strategies. So we will see what are the strategies that we can uh, you know implement to reduce the networking cost while we are using the AWS cloud. uh, Also, the important thing is with respect to serverless and container cost efficiency that we will cover, and we will also touch base upon the governance and cost control. Okay, finally we will wrap up this session with some best practices for long term AWS savings. So I urge you, please watch this video until the end, so that you will not be missing the tracks of the things that we will cover. And the best strategies or best practices that we are going to cover at the end is very important, so that it will, for the sustainable result, you can follow those practices. Okay, I hope the agenda is clear to you, and without wasting the time, let's start with the introduction. Now, the introduction here, see, cloud costs can spiral out of control unless we optimize effectively. You might have observed, I am sure, that you are working, while you are working on managing your AWS resources, and if we miss to effectively manage the things, resources, then we will get some surprises unless we have some AWS Explorer or AWS budgets, etc., configured. That we will be covering in the couple of slides, upcoming slides. Okay, so it is very important, because see, there are many businesses which are thrown out of the competition because they were failed to manage their cloud costs, and this plays a significant role. So that is the reason we need to ensure that our cost with respect to AWS, or any, it could be applicable for any cloud provider like Azure or GCP or Oracle. Okay, so we need to control the cloud cost, and we can take some smart strategies to achieve that we will be covering today. So what are the some common cost challenges? Okay, first of all, it's unused resources increasing expenses. We might have observed There are resources that actually not being used, and still these are increasing the cost. Okay, that happens most of the time. And along with that, there are some of the resources which are misconfigured. So even the resources are not needed, or they are misconfigured, means they are either overutilized, or there are multiple resources which are not at all needed. So you can say as a misconfigured services, which can lead to the waste. Okay. uh, about the overview of cost optimization strategies, so mainly we will focus on right sizing instances, storage optimization, and using AWS cost management tools. So these are some of the cost optimization strategies. There are other strategies as well, but these will be we will be focusing in detail. Now, about AWS pricing model, I hope we are already aware what is AWS pricing model. It is pay as you go, that we know, and we are paying based on hourly, based on per hour. Normally, that is the strategy, or the billing things that we follow. Here we can see under pricing model, we can go for on-demand instances, reserved instances, and saving plan, or spot instances. So we can choose either of these based on what is our requirement. For example, if we go for on-demand instances, it is best for unpredictable workload. So our workload is, suppose we are not sure about our workload, and it's unpredictable, so it can be, there could be some spikes in the workload, then we can go for that. Okay, and it is pay as you go, so it provides us pay as you go flexibility. If we choose this one, we can go for reserved instances. Okay, if we know our workload is long term. For example, when we consider reserved instances, it needs a minimum 1 year or maximum 3 years of commitment. So if we know that we the workload is for long term, then we can go for reserved instances instead of on demand or other types, so that we can save up to 72% of cost savings, because it provides us some cost saving. And on top of that, we can go for the some saving plans as well, which will be providing additional cost for us. So based on our business requirement, we can consider reserved instances. And about the spot instances, the spot instance is something kind of, we need to bid for the price, and if it's best for fault tolerant application. Suppose if our application is not going to get affected, or our application, it's okay if even some of the instances are not available. If our application is like that, if it is fitting this requirement, we can go for spot instances, and this can save up to 70 to 90% savings on unused capacity. Okay, so generally we can save some things like logs which are unimportant, or the things which are not going to affect much, then we can go for spot instances. And there is a tip you can see, we can mix reserved and spot instances, so we can mix both these types of instances, and this can reduce AWS cost by 50% for scalable workload. So this is the bonus tip for you guys. So next time you have your application that is fault tolerant, or when you can consider spot, or we can choose the mix of this, and you can save additional cost using the smart tip. Now let's cover up some real world AWS cost optimization stories. So here you can see on this slide, there are some of the stories that I have covered, which these companies, they optimize their AWS cost and they achieved the results. So first is Pinterest. So they improved the sustainability and price performance by leveraging AWS Graviton based instances. So Graviton based instances is, this is the type of instances, okay, based on Graviton, and these types of instances, they allowed them to optimize cloud compute costs while maintaining high performance. So here, when they had a requirement to optimize the performance, or um, minimize the cloud cost or control the cloud cost, but at the same time they also needed the high performance. Hence they choose graviton based instances, and it helped them to achieve the sustainability and price performance at the same time. So it was a balance. Okay. The next case study is about iFood. So it is a food delivery platform, and they reduced the cost and improved efficiency by using AWS generative AI. So instead of traditional machine learning, iFood used Gen AI, which is AWS provides Gen AI platform like Bedrock, SageMaker. There are many platforms that AWS provide, and they use one of this platform, and this helped them to build virtual waiter while lowering operational expenses. Okay, so you can say it's kind of chat bot or something like that. So they just developed out of that, and which helped them to optimize their cost. One to N. So one to N is a no-code platform for mobile app development. They reduced AWS infrastructure cost by around 42%. Okay, so they optimize EC2, RDS, and data transfer cost, cutting monthly expenses from 25K to 14K without impacting uptime or product launch velocity. So again, one to N also achieved. You can say they were able to cut their monthly expenses nearly by 40 or 42%, because from 25K to 14K. Okay, and they optimize the EC2 and RDS and data transfer cost. So you can see how much the we can achieve by smartly optimizing the AWS cost. Then Adobe powered its Acrobat AI assistants using AWS and optimizing cloud cost while delivering fast document insights and actionable items. Again, this is also very impressive. Uh, at the same time, while optimizing costs and maintaining a performance, and Adobe just maintain this. So these are some of the case studies. There are many case studies, but we were able to just for your reference, these are only few of the case studies for you to understand what is the importance or significance of cost optimization. Now, to achieve this, okay, there are some AWS cost management tools, and I can see the it's AWS Cost Explorer, AWS Budgets, and AWS Trusted Advisor. So these are some of the management tools that we can achieve to achieve the cost efficiency. Now let me just log into AWS Management Console. You can see I'm on console, and here we can search for Cost Explorer. Okay, so see, I found this service is very important, or it's very useful. So here using this, see, it lists all the things which we were able to achieve. Here first of all, on the right side you can select the date, so we can select whatever the date we want. Okay, date that we can achieve, so 3 months, 1 month, etc. And here granularity we can achieve by hourly or monthly or daily or hourly. Okay, then under filters we can choose some of the services. So here we can choose the different services based on that. So if you want, particularly for example, suppose I want to see the cost with respect to elastic load balancing, I can select this and click on apply. So you can see here it can show me that my elastic load balancing utilized $7.93 in month of May. Okay, that particular month when I selected, so this was significantly. So the idea is we can select or filter out by services. Now if you have some linked account, you can choose here. As you can see, I have these are some of the accounts. It's Sandbox, Log Archive, my main account, development account, etc. that we can select. Instance type, again we can select if we need, particularly if suppose I want to see if I have for database, by the name itself you can see it's this is for db.m5.large. if I want to understand if particularly db.m5.large how much it was utilized, then I can select this one. Okay, and click on apply. Cost category, etc. Okay, resources, if we need particular resources to be selected. Okay, so a region, all the things we can select. There is a region as well. see here, if you want, suppose you are working on different region and you want to find out, like for in my case I'm mostly using Asia Pacific, that is Mumbai region. I can select this one and it will give me how much for Asia Pacific Mumbai and elastic load balancing, what was the expenses. Okay, if I want to deselect it, and suppose if I want to see for uh, US East, that is North Virginia, so you can see, since I was not using the ELB, that is load balancing for North Virginia, so it has not listed that one. So similarly you can explore this, it's very good. And once you're done, you can also download, you can save this report to library, you can download it as a CSV format, and you can just for your reference, you can just quickly download this into CSV format. Okay, back to the PPT. We can utilize AWS Cost Explorer. This is very powerful tool to analyze spending patterns and trends. AWS budget, we can set some cost alerts to prevent overspending. So I am sure I have covered this in the past. We can set some AWS budgets, but still if you have some queries, just let me know. I will just explain it once again if you are not clear about AWS budget. Basically here we are setting some budgets. So here again, going back to AWS console. Okay, here you can see under budget and planning, we can set some budgets or kind of threshold. So here you can see I have set my monthly budget. So whenever it is this is exceeding, you can see it exceeded 1. Whenever it is exceeding the budgeted amount, suppose for $10 that I have earlier set, and if it is exceeding, then we will get some notification via email. Okay, that it's reached 50% or 70, 60% or 80, whatever the based on how you have. Here you can see it will show the budget. Okay, variance and all those things we can get in detail. Okay, the alerts, etc. You can see if it is actually 85%, actually 100% forecasted. So based on all those things, if it is forecasted, so we will get the notification. If actual covers goes beyond 85% or actual goes beyond 100%, we can get the alerts. Okay, we can edit these things based on your requirement. Okay, AWS trusted advisor as well, so it helps to find and fix the unnecessary costs. So you can utilize these management tools. These are very important, and we can help to save some cost. Now about let's quickly discuss about right sizing, picking up the right instance size. So why it is important? See, we can choose the optimal instance type based on workload needs. uh, what does this mean? Suppose if you are running some instances, for example, those are intended just to process some a little bit of workload. Okay, so in that case, instead of going for heavy instances, for example, memory intensives like M5.large or C5 series or R series, etc., you can simply choose for T2.micro, etc., that you can choose. We can scale dynamically using auto scaling and compute saving plan. Okay, we can monitor CPU memory utilization and downsizing unused resources. So based on our requirement, we can scale the dynamically using auto scaling and compute saving plans, etc., that we can utilize. Okay, now talking about storage optimization. So what do we mean by storage optimization? So in the AWS we have different storage like S3, that is simple storage service. EBS we mainly use with EC2 instance, that is elastic block store, and we have Glacier and intelligent tiering. Okay, so to optimize storage types, we can go for use some of the features, like in case of S3 we can go for S3 lifecycle policies. So again, S3 lifecycle policy I have covered it in detail, and I will share the link in the description. You can go and check that out. You will learn that. So with S3 lifecycle policies, it will see the way it will work is suppose if the data is not accessed for a particular day, for example 30 day, we can set there like it's based on frequency of data access, and the data will be moved to from expensive storage tier to less expensive, so it will be moving internally. So S3 lifecycle policies will take care of that. We don't need to do anything. It will save our cost. Okay, because as you already aware, S3 standard, we have S3 intelligent infrequently accessed, means S3 intelligent tier. Oh, okay, then we have glacier. So if we store our data into standard tier continuously, which is the most expensive tier of S3, then there will be no it will affect or it will charge us. So instead of that, if we don't need that data for, if we are not accessing it frequently, then we can move it to the less frequent tier, and this will be automatically achieved by S3 lifecycle policies. About EBS volume optimization, we should select the appropriate volume types. So what we mean by volume types is, suppose again going back to the AWS console, let's uh, let's go to EC2 and volumes. Let me create a volume, simple volume for you. Suppose here, say volume type, you can see these are the different types of volume. GP2, it's general purpose. Okay, general purpose 2, we have GP2, GP3. Then IOPS, provision IOPS, we have IO1, IO2. Okay, then throughput optimize, we have cold HDD, SC1, magnetic standard, etc. So suppose if you know that your data is not important and you don't need the performance while accessing, simply just choose throughput optimize HDD. Okay, if you choose this one and ensure you are using the right size, suppose the data is of around 30 or 40 GB and it's not going to grow, if you are aware, then don't go for 500 GB. Okay, just use this one. Here you can see IOPS is not applicable, because IOPS will be applicable only if you need high performance. Okay, so this will save you cost. And if suppose you need high performance, suppose in case of databases, okay, so you can go for this one, provision IOPS 1 or IOPS 2. See, IOPS 3 gives you 3000 IOPS. Okay, and if we consider IO1, okay, so these are mainly for performance. Then general purpose, if you know, if your data is it's kind of general purpose for, suppose for example, if you have web traffic, etc., then you can go for so the intention is choose the volume type appropriately, don't choose expensive type. So based on your requirement, please choose appropriately. Okay, about glacier and intelligent tiering, again these are part of S3 lifecycle policies, and glacier is it's one of the most cost efficient um, tier of S3. So when we keep the data for glacier, so this is mainly historical data or archival data, so which is not going to change. Suppose you have some of the certificates or something, okay, for example, which are not going to change, and you are not going to that don't need those frequently. Instead of standard tier, you can save those to the glacier, and it will save you the cost, because it uses the less expensive tier and for the glacier. So these are for storage optimization. Now let's quickly check about some of the smart strategies. How about this networking to reduce the networking cost? Okay, so mainly in case of networking, when you are using the cloud, mainly the data transfer in and out, so there are some charges associated with that. Okay, if you are transferring your data outside of the cloud to on-prem, or on-prem to to a cloud, etc., so there will be some of this the charges will be associated based on the region. Okay, so how you can save the cost? Use AWS private link. So AWS private link, it eliminates inter-region data transfer fees. So suppose if you want to transfer your data internally, like within the cloud from let me give you an example, like AP South 1, that is Asia Pacific Mumbai region, to North Virginia region, for example. Instead of using internet, just go for AWS private link. Private link is kind of, it uses AWS backbone network, and this will eliminate the inter-region data transfer fees. So it will save some of this, cost for you. So instead of going for directly to internet, just use this one. That is one of the strategy. We can optimize VPC peering and transit gateway for efficient networking. So again, if you are not sure about VPC peering and transit gateway, just check out my videos on that one. Again, this will be, proven technique to efficiently manage your things and cost in cloud. About CloudFront, so if you use CloudFront, it can save up to 60% on global content delivery. So mainly CloudFront is meant by, it's called as CDN, content delivery network. If you use this one, then it's definitely going to be helpful for you, and it will save up to 60% of the cost. So again, time for bonus tip. To optimize our AWS cost, there is a formula here. So we can go for direct connections plus pairing and plus content delivery networks. So if we choose this combination, rather than, the other over the other combination, we can save some cost. So this provides the lower cost when we are using this as part of our solution. Okay. uh, Now let's move to the serverless and container cost efficiency. So when we should use the serverless and containers, mainly say AWS. So serverless does not mean that there are no servers associated. Again, this was covered in my previous video. I will share the description link in the description. Okay, please check that out. So serverless means that we don't need to manage any servers. It will be taken care by cloud. So it's cloud managed. We have seen into that we have AWS Lambda. So we can use Lambda over EC2. Suppose we know we need to use this particularly this function as a code. It's up to 15 minutes, because Lambda has limitation that we can use something for 15 minutes. Then instead of using EC2 instance, we can go for Lambda, and it or using this we need to pay only for execution time, which in the whatever particular seconds. Sorry guys, yeah, let's this video just complete. Yeah, so instead of using EC2, just we can consider AWS Lambda as part of our solution, and it will save the cost as we need to pay only for the execution time. Event driven architecture for cost effective scaling, as I mentioned. So unless we need, if our architecture is based on events, for example, we want, suppose, let's take an example. If our application is something like, if someone, whenever someone is uploading some photos on the S3 bucket, then at the output we can expect some memes out of that. Okay, in this case we can consider as event driven, because something is happening as a result of something. Okay, so some, like whenever we are uploading, there will be some trigger, so Lambda will be triggering, and then it will upload the meme and again upload it back to S3, from where we can read it again. This is called as event driven architecture. In that case, for cost effective scaling, we can consider this one, serverless and container. Forget versus EC2, again choosing the right container hosting model. We can choose if our container, suppose EKS, Elastic Kubernetes, or ECS, that is Elastic Container Service. We have not covered it so far, but just to give you an overview, that these are based on containers. Okay, so our containers can be hosted on Fargate or EC2. We can choose whatever our requirement, so that we can save the cost for containers hosting as well. Okay, now about governance and cost control. So we should implement cost allocation reports. Okay, so these are some of this, how we should control the cost. We should use AWS organization for centralized billing. Again, AWS organization we have covered, and mainly AWS organization is used when we have multiple accounts. Suppose we have 10 accounts, so we can create AWS organization, and it will kind of one centralized umbrella. Under that we can manage all these accounts at the central location. and it will give the benefit of mass level of discount. So AWS organization again very important for centralized management and centralized billing. We will get volume level discount and single bill for all those accounts. Instead of paying each bill separately, we can use organization. Tagging resources for better tracking. It's I've seen many of the times that tagging the resource is something that it is ignored area. And why the tagging is needed is, see, suppose in your environment there is, suppose, sandbox environment, dev environment, and production environment. Okay, these are three different environment, and you want to analyze how much you are spending for your sandbox. Okay, particularly. So unless you have tagged your resources like environment equal to sandbox or whatever, so you can list out all the resources which are tagged with the environment equal to the particular associated. You will finding it very difficult how to identify otherwise. So just for tracking purpose, tagging plays very important role, guys. Okay, so please consider it whenever you have you are working or considering this one. Now we are at the end of our session, and what are some of the best practices for long-term AWS savings? Let's quickly cover up this one. First of all is automate cost saving strategies. So we should automate cost saving strategies, like we should do some auto scaling, uh, you know then we can consider some automation strategies, etc., associated with that. We should conduct regular AWS costs audit. So unless you are auditing the things, you will not be, instead of getting sudden surprise. Okay, just regularly ensure that you are conducting your AWS cost audits. Use savings plans and reserved instances strategically. Savings plans is, see, saving plans is something that I'll quickly cover this one. These when we are working with so cloud provider like AWS. So if we are spending suppose particular, for example, $50,000 per month, okay, and this is happening for say 3 or 4 months, etc. Okay, then we, as we know, our spending is, for example, this 50,000 K USD, for example. We can work with cloud provider and we can choose this saving plan. So what it will do is it will analyze all these things, and it will recommend us that which are the things that we should downsize or we should change. For example, EBS volume, if it's not fit for that particular instance, etc., we will get. And on top of our other cost saving uh, action, saving plan will give us the additional, or you can say fixed amount of that monthly savings. So we should pay particularly. So there are some charges associated that I believe for saving plan. We need to buy that plan, but it will save us a lot. Okay, so I have seen up to 50%, etc., we can save using saving plans. Reserved instances strategy, we have seen that we can use the combination, and this is a particularly we should use reserved instances or other type. If we need, we are going to use those resources for minimum 1 year or maximum 3 years of commitment. Okay, optimize storage tiers, instance size, and networking. We have seen that we should choose or storage tier. We should use that lifecycle policies, the EBS volume, that particular which is best fit for that our requirement, the instance sizes. And I'll give you another tip. Suppose there's AWS, you can go for AWS compute optimizers. Okay, so this one. And if suppose you're not sure that what is the perfect fit, okay, right now I don't have anything, but here you can see under recommendation, right sizing. Okay, in suppose you can choose your region, all those things, and whenever you notice that particularly that suppose your instance is not utilized properly, or you are suspecting it's overutilized or underutilized, it will show the right sizing, all those recommendations here. Okay, if you are, it is applicable for RDS, lambda functions, EBS volume, so everything it will show that recommendation. And here you can see If you scroll to your right, it shows current volume type, current IOPS. Okay, then recommended volume type. Okay, so if we are using GP2 and recommended is something else, suppose HDD, it will show us that you should go for that, and it will save the particular. It will also show the price difference monthly. If we utilize this one, it will show the recommended monthly price and price difference monthly. So this again, this service is very important, AWS compute optimization, right? Okay, back to our PPT. Next point is continuously monitor or refine cloud spending. Okay, we should monitor the resources properly. Okay, so we should start optimizing the things today itself. So without wasting our time, let's make sure that we are taking care of our cloud cost under control. So we should explore our AWS cost explorer and budget. We should enable auto scaling and tagging our resources for better tracking, and we should keep refining to achieve long-term efficiency. Okay, because see guys, every dollar saved on cloud cost goes back into the business. That the it's as it says that we can, even we have saved $1 or one whatever 1 cent, that will be achievement if we are able to achieve. So just take these things seriously, and I hope guys that today's session was important and you found it useful to value addition, and it was important for your considering the AWS cost. Thanks a lot friend, and I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to like, share and comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is Cloud with Mohsin, and if you have any queries, please feel free to write in the comment section. I'll be very happy to assist you with these questions. Okay, thanks again and take care. Bye bye.